What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the pod. You can follow me on socials at Jake Crumpler and can find all of my work at CrumplerBaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Tuesday, May 26th. We'll start it off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league, kicking things off with the bad news as starting pitcher Jesse Scholtens was placed on the 15-day IL with a wrist strain. The timeline for Scholtens' return is unclear, and they won't need a corresponding move in the Rays rotation as Griffin Jax has transitioned from the bullpen to the rotation. Relief pitcher Craig Kimbrell signed a major league contract in a corresponding move to Scholtens' IL placement, and he looked pretty dominant in his first taste of baseball wearing a Rays uniform, and that only makes sense for the Rays to be able to get the most out of Craig Kimbrell. And I wouldn't be surprised if he works himself into some high leverage situations in a bullpen that is sort of hurting for healthy relievers. Next, outfielder Tyrone Taylor was placed on the 10-day IL with a hip flexor strain. The Mets also optioned outfielder Nick Morabito to the minors. Both were playing in the outfield against left-handed pitchers, and we'll see a sort of big shift in the offense for the Mets as a result of the departures of Taylor and Morabito, as first baseman Jared Young was activated from the 10-day IL after missing time with meniscus surgery, and he'll be on the strong side of a first base platoon with Mark Vientos, who had been seeing an everyday role at first base, so he'll now see a lot of time on the bench. And also first baseman Eric Wagaman was selected from the minors, and he'll likely be on the short side of a DH platoon with MJ Melendez. And that means that Carson Bench and AJ Ewing will see uninterrupted time in the outfield without platoon partners, meaning Bench and Ewing will see at-bats against left-handed pitching. Next, starting pitcher Logan Henderson was placed on the 15-day IL with a low back strain. He should miss the minimum time, but it's pretty unfortunate given how good Henderson has looked to start his season. Starting pitcher Coleman Crowe was recalled from the minors in a corresponding move, and Crowe is expected to start on Friday in Houston. Next, starting pitcher Noah Schultz was placed on the 15-day IL with knee patellar tendonitis. The timeline for Schultz's return is unclear, but the replacement for him in the rotation is clear, as David Sandlin was recalled from the minors to make his MLB debut versus the Twins. He's the White Sox number 18 prospect, and he was acquired from the Red Sox in the Jordan Hicks trade. He's pitched to a 0.55 ERA with a 35% strikeout rate in 6 starts between high A and triple A, but has struggled massively with his control so far in the minors with a 15% walk rate. And I'm pulling up the start right now, and he actually did not make his MLB debut today. I'm trying to figure out when he is supposed to start now, given that he did not start today when I initially thought he was going to. But it looks like David Sandlin is not scheduled to start. I guess he doesn't have a scheduled start up next, but Noah Schultz's next start was supposed to be on Friday versus the Tigers. So for me, that would make the most sense for Sandlin to make his MLB debut. It's unclear if he's going to stick in the rotation or if this will just be a temporary time on the active roster with Schultz on the IL. But if Sandlin pitches well in his debut on Friday, then he could lock himself into that White Sox rotation. And lastly, starting pitcher Aaron Civale was placed on the 15-day IL with shoulder tendonitis. The timeline for Civale's return remains unclear, but he was down 3 miles per hour across the board in his last start. So we'll probably need to see him get back to being peak Civale before he's back in the majors. But we had an exciting corresponding move as Gage Jump was selected from the minors to make his MLB debut. This one did actually happen as Jump took on the Mariners, tossing 5 innings, allowing 9 hits and 4 runs while walking 1 and striking out 5. He induced 13 whiffs with 30% CSW across 88 pitches, and Jump's fastball looked pretty legit at 96 miles per hour from the left side with 17 inches of IVB and 1.6 height adjusted vertical approach angle. That's a very good attributes for his fastball, and he had intent with the heater upstairs, which is exactly what you want to see when you have this kind of shape with it. Jump's slider and sweeper graded out as above average as well, giving him sort of a left-handed Max Meyer vibe with the good fastball in the mid to upper 90s and the excellent breakers to support it. He also has a developing changeup similar to Max Meyer. It still needs some more work to make him untouchable versus right-handed batters, but this is a pretty interesting profile from jump. Like I said, I'd compare him to Max Meyer. Obviously, it took Max Meyer a few years to get going, but Meyer didn't always have the fastball that he has now, that the same fastball that Jump has from the left side. So pretty excited to see what Jump can do. And I'd be down to try it out moving forward, but maybe after he heads to the north side of Chicago for his next start. It's in Houston and versus Colorado afterwards. And that Colorado start is one I'd be circling for Gage Jump if he looks solid in his next two starts. In terms of transactions, starting pitcher Bryson Motts was optioned to the minors after making his MLB debut in bulk relief a couple days ago. Relief pitcher Ryan Fernandez was recalled for the minors in a corresponding move. Relief pitcher Gabe Spire was activated from the 15-day IL after missing 3 weeks with shoulder inflammation. With his return and Matt Brash's return a couple of days ago, the Mariners bullpen is back to full strength. Another bullpen getting back to full strength is the Mets bullpen, as relief pitcher AJ Minter was activated from the 60-day IL after missing the whole season after undergoing lat surgery, which forced him to miss most of last year as well. So he'll be a big addition to the Mets bullpen. That's AJ Minter. And lastly, outfielder Taylor Trammell was activated from the 10-day IL after missing time with a groin strain. Trammell will be on the strong side of a left field platoon with Nick DeCenzo for the Astros, as outfielder Zach Cole was optioned to the minors in a corresponding move. And in terms of news, starting pitcher Logan Webb is expected to be activated from the 15-day IL to start in Colorado in a couple of days. Webb has been out with knee bursitis, but Webb is going to be rejoining the Giants ball club, which is exciting to see. Now we can take a look at our notable performances from Tuesday, a day in which we had a full slate of 15 games. We'll start it off with our hitters, leading off with outfielder Yordan Alvarez, who continues his great season, but did all he could, and the Astros lost in Texas. Alvarez went 2 for 5 with 2 runs, 2 home runs, and 4 runs batted in. He's up to 18 home runs on the year, and with a 1,045 OPS, Alvarez leads MLB in OPS. Next, third baseman Ahmed Rosario helped the Yankees to win in Kansas City, going 4 for 6 with 3 runs, 2 home runs, and 4 runs batted in. He's up to 6 home runs on the year now. The first one traveled 420 feet at 101 miles per hour, and the second one went 381 feet at 99 miles per hour. Rosario is on the short side of a third base platoon, but he's been having his best offensive season with an 863 OPS. I wonder if the Yankees will get tired of Ryan McMahon's noodly bat and give Rosario an everyday opportunity at some point. But with Anthony Volpe sticking around on the roster and taking playing time away from Jose Caballero, Caballero has now started taking away playing time from Rosario as well, meaning you've got both Caballero and McMahon eating into Rosario's playing time. But I think Rosario really deserves some more opportunities. He's hitting more fly balls than ever with some career high StatCast metrics and a more aggressive approach, allowing him to tap into the power that he's displayed this year. But if he doesn't get everyday playing time, then Rosario's not worth the shot in the majority of fantasy leagues. And lastly, shortstop Mookie Betts helped the Dodgers to win against the Rockies, going 3 for 5 with 2 runs, 2 home runs, and 5 runs batted in. He's up to 6 home runs on the year now, and his first one traveled 404 feet at 101 miles per hour, and the second one went 377 feet at 99 miles per hour. Betts has never been a StatCast standout, and he spent a while on the injured list, so there isn't much to pull from or point to suggest that Betts will recover from his slow start, as he's got a 679 OPS even after this multi-homer game. But he's still elite at making contact. He hasn't changed his plate approach. He's still managing to pull fly balls to allow him to tap into his limited power, and we haven't seen any decrease in his average bat speed. Though Betts is no longer the fantasy MVP he once was, he is still somebody that has 20 homer potential, and he hits second for the Dodgers, making him a run-producing machine, hitting behind the likes of Shohei Ohtani and ahead of Freddie Freeman and Andy Pajes and all the incredible bats in that Dodgers lineup. And I'd be down to buy low in most leagues for Mookie Betts. He's a beast in points leagues because of his impressive plate discipline. So I definitely be targeting him as a buy low there if somebody wants to take the chance that maybe they think he's cooked at this point in his career. Now we can head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Shane Baz as he took on the Rays and helped the Orioles to win, tossing 7 innings, allowing 7 hits with 1 run, walking 2 while striking out 9. He induced 10 whiffs with 31% CSW across 99 pitches. Is Boz back after having his best start this month with 6 innings of 1 run ball and 6 strikeouts last time in Tampa Bay? He took down the Rays in Baltimore again with his best start of the year, completing the seventh frame for the first time this season and setting a season high with 9 strikeouts. Boz's curveball was cooking with 6 whiffs, 46% CSW, and 86% strikes, but it's suspicious given half of them landed in the upper third of the zone, and those pitches should get crushed, but batters laid off as four seamers intermingled upstairs, creating uncertainty for batters whether it was going to be a fastball that stuck in the zone or one that stayed upstairs but then ultimately ended up falling into the zone as a curveball. I don't think that's a great strategy moving forward. This was a passive Rays lineup, but he did have cutters earning enough strikes to keep at bats competitive. There's definitely some unsustainability here as Boz returned 9 strikeouts on just 10 whiffs. It's via a 69% put away rate. That's very unsustainable. He's not going to have this high a strikeout rate with these amount of whiffs moving forward. And I'm really not sold because this curveball command is suspicious. And I'm definitely going to blame these two starts on it being the same opponent and maybe the Rays being unable to figure him out. And also the added factor that Boz is probably pitching with a little bit of revenge after being traded by the Rays to the Orioles. And I just don't want to jump back in considering there hasn't been much to latch onto in these past two starts. But if you want to take the chance that I'm wrong, Boz gets an easy matchup in Boston next. And next, we've got Aaron Nola, who helped the Phillies to win in San Diego, tossing 6 innings, allowing just 3 hits and 2 earned runs, walking nobody while striking out 5, inducing 12 whiffs with 31% CSW across 80 pitches. And it's been a tough season for Aaron Nola. He's got a 5.72 ERA and a 1.45 whip, but he looked different here, earning A grades on his pitches, on his pitcher list stats player card. His curveball command was elite low and glove side, returning 7 whiffs and 31% CSW, allowing him to throw it as his primary pitch and avoid throwing his hittable heaters. But Nola's sole blemish did come on a 2-run homer that was off of a sinker. So he's still home run prone. The fact that he allowed 3 hits and 2 earned runs is suggestive of that. He allowed just one base runner, one of his 2 base runners scored because of a home run. But Nola does get the Padres again next, but I think without the pristine fastball command that he's had throughout his career, but hasn't shown up this year, he's very risky. But I'm not counting out success from Nola in a repeat matchup against the Padres. And lastly, we've got Eric Lauer, who helped the Dodgers to win against the Rockies, tossing 6 innings, allowing just 4 hits and 1 earned run, walking 1 while striking out 4. He induced 7 whiffs with 19% CSW across 96 pitches. And this was Lauer's first start with the Dodgers, and there was interest given the change of scenery from the Blue Jays to the Dodgers and the interest from the league's premier franchise in the first place. If the Dodgers are interested in a pitcher, it must be for good reason. He also got a soft landing here against the Rockies outside of Colorado, and he got away with a lot as 91-mile-per-hour four-seamers were fouled off a whopping 21 times. Foul balls can really go 50-50 whiffs or balls in play, but given the velocity and shape of his fastball, I guess more of those would be the latter, balls in play. Lauer threw the rest of his pitches, curve, cutter, and changeup a similar amount, and none were spectacular. His command of heaters upstairs was impressive, with the secondaries falling low, and there's plenty of win potential for Lauer pitching for the Dodgers, but I'm not sold that his underwhelming arsenal can survive against stronger offenses than the Rockies, like in Arizona next. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Tuesday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves. Starting with the former, Paul Sewald worked around a solo shot for his 13th save of the year. Mitchell Parker had a 3-inning save for his first save of the year. Raisel Iglesias worked around 2 runs for his 9th save. Yoendrys Gomez worked around the zombie runner, scoring in the 11th for his team-leading 3rd save. Gomez is on the Twins. Ryan Yarbrough had a 3-inning save for his first save of the year. Jacob Latz worked around a solo shot in a 4-out save, his 6th save of the year. And Yohan Duran recorded his 11th save with a perfect 9th. And in terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, Kirby Yates pitched a hitless 9th up by 4 after the Angels tacked on an insurance run in the top half. And it appeared that he would have gotten a save opportunity if they hadn't ruined his save chance here on Tuesday. And I think that Yates might get the next chance for the Angels to close over Ryan Zefferjon and Sam Bachman, which would mean that Yates is the closer for the Angels. We'll see how that works out. I like Bachman more as a pitcher, but if Yates is getting the opportunities, then I guess it's not really worth rostering Bachman in standard leagues. Next, Daniel Palencia allowed a solo homer pitching the seventh down by 8. He hadn't pitched since last Wednesday, so this was a maintenance outing for Daniel Palencia. Abner Uribe pitched a scoreless eighth by up with a 6-run lead. Trevor McGill also pitched a scoreless ninth up by 6. Both of them had it pitched since last Tuesday, so these were maintenance outings for Uribe and McGill. And lastly, Andres Munoz allowed a solo home run pitching the ninth up by 4. But if you'd like more information on relief pitchers, check out Rick Graham's daily articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Wednesday, May 27th, a day in which we'll have a full slate of 15 games. My matchup of the day is Kevin Gausman versus Eury Perez. Perez looked much better last time out. He's got electric stuff, but not great control. The Blue Jays are a tough lineup, but if Perez can control his pitches, he should have success there. And it'll be a good matchup if Gausman does the same with his fastball splitter slider combination. His splitter was great. He's been awesome in his last 2 starts ever since I traded for him in my home league. So you're welcome to whoever's been rostering Kevin Gausman, but excited to see what Gausman versus Perez looks like. In terms of probable starters, we've got 8 guys in the auto start tier, including Gausman. We've also got the likes of Christopher Sanchez in San Diego, Shohei Ohtani versus the Rockies, and Jacob deGrom versus the Astros. Our probably starts tier has 4 guys, and that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Connor Prelip. He's taking on the White Sox, and he hasn't had the control for his slider, which is his signature pitch, and really propelled his success through his first few starts. But without the command or control of the slider, he doesn't have much else. His fastball is decent, but the changeup has not stepped up. He tried to turn to a curveball last time. It didn't work out. I'm a little bit wary trusting Prelip against the White Sox, which have proven to not be the worst lineup in baseball, but it's worth taking the chance here against the White Sox with Connor Prelip. I'd also keep an eye out for Trevor McDonald versus the Diamondbacks. He did not have a great start last time. It was sort of a blow up in the final inning for him, and it was all over the place. I sort of wrapped up my first SP roundup with that whole series of unfortunate events for McDonald in that Diamondbacks game. It was absolutely crazy. I think they scored 9 runs in 1 inning and knocked McDonald out of the game in that one. But I think he'll be much better here against the Diamondbacks with his sinker, slider, changeup combination. If you're looking for pitchers that are going to have openers, Jake Woodford will be squaring off against the Cardinals with an opener, and Jonah Tong will have an opener as he gets the Cincinnati Reds outside of Cincinnati. In terms of hitter suggestions, I target Guardians hitters versus Miles Mikolas in Progressive Field because Mikolas has a 6.17 ERA on the season. I'd also target A's and Mariners hitters in Sutter Health Park. It's one of the best hitters parks in baseball, and we'll see Logan Gilbert square off against Jeffrey Springs in that one. And lastly, I target Rangers hitters versus Mike Burrows in Globe Life Field. It's a good pitcher's park, but we just saw a lot of offense from these 2 clubs on Tuesday, and Burrows has a 5.75 ERA on the season. Now we can close things out with our relievers to watch. Yohan Duran has pitched on back-to-back days and in 4 of the past 5. So with Brad Keller and Orion Kerkering also having pitched on back-to-back days and in 3 of the past 4, then I think Jose Alvarado is probably your best chance for a save out of the Phillies bullpen. And if you're getting really desperate, we've got closer committees in Minnesota, Sacramento, Cincinnati, and Washington. So definitely save opportunities there in those bullpens if you can guess right. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on socials at Jake Crumpler, where I do daily SP streamers and break down every single start via the Pitcher List stats player cards. Tune into YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast, and make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.